I started when I was, I guess, 7 or 8. We had a Commodore 64 computer at home, and there was a book with hot air balloon on the cover, and there was a I like to be around people. That's why I'm working from home. In my company, we don't like set deadlines, so don't set expectations. We don't do estimation, stuff like that. So it's pretty special company, but it's perfect for me. There were signs like for a long time, but I wasn't interested in ADHD stuff because for me it was like a very dark time. So and you said that it's like ADHD is the constant energy. It's not, and it's often like the opposite. You're very devastated. I was like, okay, so you're building some websites, some commercial shit, but you're an artist, you need to create more.
Hey there, busy programmers. Thanks for tuning into the Busy Programmer series, where we dive into the stories, insights, and beyond code challenges of some of the most inspiring people in tech. Before we jump into today's conversation, I would like to ask a quick favor. Statistics show that over half of people who watch this kind of interviews don't subscribe to the channels. So if you enjoy what you are seeing or hearing here and want to keep up with more real, relatable content about life in tech, hit that subscribe or follow button. It's easy and it doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us grow this community, bring on more of the guests we are excited to feature, and keep adding real value for you. Don't be a stranger in read mode only as well. Drop your comments, leave questions for me and my guests, and suggest anyone you would love to see on the show. We can shape this channel into a space that truly reflects what matters most to all of us busy programmers. All right, let's get into it. Hope you enjoy today's episode.
Witam w moim pierwszym vlogu. Znajdujemy się właśnie w Muzeum Figur Woskowych w Londynie, gdzie jestem tutaj z moim kolegą Marcinem.
Witam serdecznie.
W międzyczasie odpalę Snapchata, bo jeszcze mam 20 sekund.
Nagrajmy Snapka, tak, jesteśmy w Madame Tussauds. Zwiedzamy sobie, jesteśmy w tej chwili famous youtuberami. Wierzymy, że to wideo zwiększy nam zasięg o miliardy viewsów, więc...
Subskrybujcie, lajkujcie, szerujcie,
tutaj będzie
komentujcie.
przycisk, klikamy, subskrybujemy, subusie, lajkujcie.
Welcome to the Busy Programmers interview, episode XYZ. And this time I have my old good friend and fellow busy programmer joining me for the series, who is Maciek Korsan. Hi Maciek, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm pretty good. I'm going back to reality from my trip to Japan. It's been almost a week. I'm back, so
yeah, I was a little bit afraid. Of course, I was following your trip and your trip back home, which was with some journeys and some struggles. But you're here, you're back, and thanks for accepting my invitation and being a guest in the series. But maybe start from the basics. Of course, we know each other, but people who are watching us might not know you. So, can you introduce yourself for the audience of the series?
Okay, so my name is Maciek Korsan. I live in Białystok in Poland. We've met with Marcin at our university studies. Yep. Then we worked together for some time. And so that's like kind of part of our story. But my story is that I'm a front-end developer, focusing on the UI part of the front-end, not the JavaScript, React stuff. I also can do this stuff, but I'm focusing on the visual part of front-end. That's like maybe the best way to summarize my career. But also I'm doing all of the less boring stuff than coding. So yeah, I will get to the stuff later, I guess. But like not to start too long. we should place a stop here, I think.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because if you define yourself from one point of view, there's hundreds of points of views that people can see it from the outside. And as I mentioned, since we know each other, and since I know you, you've been doing a lot of the things. That's for sure. You've been teaching myself also how to play ukulele at some point. You've been doing photos daily for, again, since I remember,
over 9
recording
years now.
videos. Yeah, recording videos, doing vlogs, blogs, and we will talk about it today. But going back to basics and coding, do you remember when you started? When was your first interaction with anything programming related? Was it before studies? I think it was before studies for sure.
Yeah. Long before the studies. So I started when I was, I guess, 7 or 8. We had a Commodore 64 computer at home, and there was a book with hot air balloon on the cover, and there was I think it was basic or something like this. There was a code inside. You can type this code into the computer on the TV, and then after 2 hours of typing, when you hit enter, you saw that like this floating balloon. So that was my first connection to the code I made. As years were passing by, in my primary school, I had this like IT class, which wasn't popular back then, and there was a front page program on the computers, which was like a web page builder from Microsoft, part of the Microsoft Office suite back in the days. So that was like my first approach to create a website with the Smartpea stuff, floating text, stuff like that. So that was my first connection with web pages then.
Nice.
But there was like no code. It was more like visual stuff, like placing blocks. First code I wrote was I think early 2000s, like 2001. I got a CD with pirate software from my uncle when I moved to Białystok, and there was a program called Pajączek, which is like spider, a little spider. It was like a web editor for creating websites, and it had tons of tutorials inside. So I was like looking at first at was the HTML stuff, like it was JavaScript to create like working clock, stuff like that. But I quickly got into the websites, and first website I created, which was published, it was probably 2002. I didn't have internet connection at home back then, so I've been like creating web page on my computer, use a floppy drive to copy it and go to my friend who had internet and like publish it on like small FTP server, like 4 megabytes account, something like that, because it was free. So this is how it started. And then like year later, I created probably one of the biggest websites about ski jumping in Poland. Because I was a huge fan of ski jumping back then. So like my first times I created code was because I wanted to share my passion about something. So that's why I created lots of websites about stuff I was interested in. With my friends we created this big website. Back then there was like no Ajax stuff, no live reload stuff, nothing fancy like this. You didn't have WebSockets to refresh the web page. So when was the ski jumping competition, I've been sitting in my living room watching TV and like running to my computer in the other room to update the results live. So I was like typing and publishing the website every time.
It was a full studio of managing the whole agency. That's nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then I dropped this project, but my friend continued, and it grew pretty well. And I was like doing lots of websites for like scouting teams because I was a scout back then. Music related websites like Belarusian music. So like I was probably the youngest person who created a music festival website. because I saw like there was an advert that you can be a webmaster. Okay, I can do this. I was like,
I was going to ask you because I do remember from my bad memory that you were the one who were already handling a lot of business inquiries when you were younger, right? It was like you were doing some contracting even before it was
yeah,
like a fully featured paid job, I would say, right? Because it was like
yeah.
you were the one who could do
I
that,
did.
right?
Yeah, I did a lot of free websites back then. It wasn't paid job. Like my
Yeah.
first paid job was like about 2007, I think, or 2006. I've been doing some furniture maker website, which was like I've been I've been a designer, webmaster. I created a CMS in
Full stack. It's
PHP.
called full
Yeah,
stack.
yeah. Back then it was like a webmaster.
But yeah, the PHP was also kind of thriving then. But
Yeah.
I do recall it's like right now, looking back in the past, it seems like a well worth investment because you were doing it because you liked it, but then also it shaped your skills and of course your everything basically around the hard
Yeah.
core skills of building this because you were dealing with people, you were resolving their problems and still doing what you loved doing and still love
Yeah.
because you are still doing it, right?
Yeah, I'm still doing it. I'm still an active programmer. I didn't go like the business paths. I'm still an active developer. So yeah.
But then Maciek, between photography, music, DJing that you didn't mention, and programming, which passion you mostly identify with? Is there one that rules it all for a specific time frame, or you're juggling it between of that all the time, or you feel like you are mostly tech geek with some side hustles? I would say, right? How do you see
It's it's
yourself?
it's hard to say, to be
Yeah.
honest, because I was thinking about this because I saw the agenda you sent me, and I was like thinking like, what's the answer for this question? But to be honest, I've been thinking about this like seasons of the year. So we've got like spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And it's like maybe it's like same with me. It's hard to put me into like one label. It's like
Mhm.
programmer, developer, photographer, musician, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't like
You're a
labels.
Maciek. You're a Maciek.
Yeah, I'm just Maciek, and it's like a funny thing is that like I'm meeting a lot of people related to different parts of my being, and they are like thinking, okay, he's a photographer. Oh, he's a drone operator. Oh, he's a DJ. So it's like different people think different things about me, like what I'm really doing for a living. So it's like for many of them, it's a surprise that most of my income is like from programming, not from doing pictures
Mhm.
or stuff like that. So because I'm like when I'm doing stuff other than programming, I'm almost never like earning money on that because I
Okay.
want to do things like because I like them, not to be paid them for. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes complete sense, and that's how it's often is because it seems like it is passion driven mainly, right? And then the business or the side results in income might comes as a side effect of the actions, but not as a main driver. Uh, at the same time, and again, we'll be jumping a little bit between the topics at some point,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you've been always kind of sharing your knowledge, right? And I know that I triggered you a little when we are preparing to this recording with your first public talk, because
Yeah.
we've been both doing this, and I also do remember, I don't even know how, but I've started going to meetups during the studies as well. You've been also an
Mhm.
active meetups participant before it was such popular activity
Yeah.
amongst programmers, I would say. So do you recall or remember now your first public talk? What was it? What it was all
Yeah.
about? And how it all started
Yeah.
for you when it comes to the sharing knowledge part?
I don't know. It's hard to recall like what was the first time, really for first time. But when I saw this question, I was going to like back in my memory to the times of like 2010, I think. There was a meetup in Białystok in like it was called a Zappa restaurant, which is not existent anymore. But there was a meetup called Pechakcha, I think. It's like 20 slides, and each slide you have 20 seconds to talk. So there were like six minutes presentations, or six something minutes, or seven. I can't remember. But there were like short presentations about something, and I was like, okay, I did some fancy project for a small gallery, pop-up gallery exhibition. and I want to talk about it. And I went through first. I couldn't remember the name, so I asked ChatGPT what's the name of this kind of event, and like the second answer was this Pechakcha thing, and I was like googling about it. I found the specific event, and then I went to my Gmail account and I typed Pechakcha, and it's like, okay, I sent the code to the person to run it during that.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, I thought about this like lost media, but it's not, apparently. It's a Flash application, and I like spent about 4 hours yesterday to try to run it on my Mac. So I stayed up late until I think 2 a.m. to do this. Almost done it, but didn't work smoothly. So today I changed the software to run the Windows on my Mac, and it works. So it's like miracle. So thanks for this question, because I got back like down the memory lane to 2011, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
But
that was like my first public speaking experience as a developer, let's say. Except like the thesis, like the engineering degree we had. So that there was also a technical talk, basically.
I do even remember that I was entering the room after you when
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was
Oh,
concluding.
yeah.
Right after you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So,
this is not something what we've been taught, right? And I think
yeah.
again, I'm trying to interview some fellow programmers about it, and it was always similar for those at least who felt like they need to speak about something. It was never like intentional that they just found an idea that I will build a presentation about it. They always did something cool from
Yeah.
their perception that they just wanted to speak about, and it was never like a forced power that someone told me to do the presentation about XYZ. It's always like, yeah, I did something
Sometimes
cool.
it is like this, but you know, when you work in a company, they want
Yeah,
to.
sometimes it is, but when it comes to the starts of it, it's always like even if it's something silly, we feel like it's something cool that we did, or at least we it might not be that cool but still it's better or further than someone who is starting with anything else, and it's always a lesson for someone who have not experienced that, despite if it's a programming code or
like
whatever else.
I also like remember other thing is that like since I think I was 14 or 15, I've been attending Białystok Linux users group, which was created at our university, but I was like too young to be a student at the university, but they allowed me to participate. And that was like my first time with technical talks, because we are doing like some installations there, like let's install this kind of distribution of Linux like on this meetup. So there was like the first technical meetup I had. It was like I was 14, 15, something like that. I was the youngest. And there was like this whole huge community on IRTS. So
IRC, yeah.
Free node stuff, and there was like a Linux Spell channel where I was like, I think I get to the OP range there. So yeah, that was like my connection to the community, like from the very, very beginning.
Yeah, but summarizing, then you are the one who started early, because you were also exposed quite early to possibilities of computers and machines in general. Then you were kind of involved whenever you could from your internal drivers that motivates you then to do more, even help people by your skills and stuff. And it never stopped since then, because I do still catch up with you on some conferences and places and blogging, vlogging, and all the other stuff from various perspectives still. So the main question then, which I ask also for other guests, is how it is possible that you are doing so many things, still, being able to have time for more and traveling, exploring stuff. Do you have any specific secrets that leads you to accomplish that many things, or is it kind of the result of decisions making process of what are you doing now, or you never thought about it?
Yeah, it's like constant chaos for me, I guess. So.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's good to hear, because
there is no recipe for that. So it's like I wouldn't advise anyone to follow things I'm doing, because like there are sometimes destructive to your health. So because you're like doing too much stuff, or you're agreeing to do too much stuff because you want to do everything. So, but it's not possible. So there is a limit. So as I mentioned before, right now I think like I'm just changing stuff, not doing all the stuff at once because it's not possible. So I'm just like trying to maybe find some other ways to do things or focus on all the most important to me, not to others, because like I was always like a people pleaser. So if someone asks me for help, I never say no. Yeah, and it's stupid.
That's a general problem
Because
of yes men's, like we both are probably.
yeah. So that's the thing I'm working on right now, and trying to rest more.
But
Because
did you ever
this
did
is
you ever
important.
try any methods of did you ever feel like you've been, I don't know, lacking productivity? Did you feel like you are procrastinating a lot, or how do you
All
see
the
yourself
time.
from the perspective? Because from the outside it looks like you are doing so
Yeah.
many things, you accomplish so many stuff, but from the
No.
inside, have you ever felt
Yeah.
like you were
Yeah.
underperforming all the time?
All the time, I think. Yeah. So that's the
Okay,
thing.
that's interesting.
It's like I'm deadline driven development. So
Same.
uh,
Just to mention here, I think this whole series, I need to share a big kudos to you, because you motivated me when we were talking at this conference road that set up the deadline and then you will do it,
yeah.
because it was it was always in the plans, but the plans were in the making, right? So, but then we have a lot of in common. Then it's great to hear for me, and again, it might not be that great to hear for people who have some kind of expectations that there is a plan for everything. There's
No.
usually no plan. But did you try those techniques? We've been talking at some point about this procrastination killers, or ways to kill the
Mhm.
procrastination, and I know that you've been exploring this. Did you try specific techniques like Pomodoro's, time boxing, or anything like that? Did it ever work for you?
Yes and no. They are working for a short period of time, like for 2 weeks, and then suddenly it stops. So
Mhm.
uh, yeah, I'm trying to use Pomodoro from time to time because when I see this clock counting down, it's like okay, it's motivating me. But recently I discovered on YouTube there are videos for like 4 or 5 hours length. And they are this is like a timer, but structurized in a way like pretty much like Pomodoro, but with music and like environmental sounds like trains, stuff like that. So it's like 15 minutes. You play this video. It's like starts with like 15 minutes. Let's tidy up the desk. Write down what you want to do, and then you start. And there's like
It's kind of
this.
guided session, let's
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
Okay.
kind of, yeah. And there are like some other things like I will speak about maybe some more about ADHD because I'm a diagnosed person with a lot of experience, like
Mm-hmm.
whole life experience, but like diagnosed. So there is this body doubling thing, which is like working with others, which works for me pretty well, even if like there's another person in the room who's doing different stuff than me. It works for my motivation, for my performance very well. So I
Okay.
like to be around people. That's why I'm working from home.
I was going to say that, because one of the
Yeah.
questions is like, but you are working from home and you are doing this for how long now? It was before it was cool and before it was forced by pandemic, right?
Yeah. Like I think like I'm longer working from home than I would be working from the offices.
I think
So
it's worth to maybe remind ourselves about it, because I did find a presentation on my LinkedIn from 2015 or something like that, when we were both doing a presentation about effective team working as a
yeah,
remote team. So
yeah,
that's funny to find it, because yeah, whenever we speak with a lot of people these days, they see like, oh, remote work is cool, you can work from
mm,
home, etc. But when we were doing it, we were exposed to those issues and side effects of remote work very early, so we were able to
yeah,
adopt or accept the consequences and survive some of the consequences of it already.
exactly.
So
Yeah, but this like body doubling thing is working for me pretty well. There are also Discord communities you can find and like jump on a call with other people, and it starts like 5 minutes. Everybody talks about what they are going to do today, and then everybody like goes to their own business. Sometimes somebody can speak up, but you can feel the presence, so it's like motivating you to work more.
Yeah. Okay, let's then talk about it how it is now, because I ask every guest that joins my series to share their calendar, and I have a
Yeah.
screenshot from your calendar that I
Yeah.
will share right now with our viewers, which is a little bit different than probably most of the calendars that some people might expect here. But then let's talk. What are you doing right now? How this ability of working with the current team and company and also programming related activities allows you to do so many things outside of the, let's say, typical work time, and how do you organize this time, and if there's any routine in this kind of calendar or week or day approaches. Right now we are sharing our your calendar
Yeah.
screen from December,
Yeah.
and it looks quite empty, I would say.
Yeah.
So
So
is
it's in
this the
Polish.
reality?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the reality. There's also like a second one for meetings, but I forgot to enable it on this screenshot. But there will be like the today's meeting, like
Recording.
the recording stuff, and like the upcoming week I have 2 workshops with the Up to Date festival. So they're also like marked. So basically my calendar looks like this. There's this training thing. I'm going to a personal trainer 2 times a week. And I put this into my calendar, so I get the notification like you need to move out from your home to be on time. So that's why it's like hard coded into the calendar 2 times a week. Even like if I'm not in Białystok, it stays. I don't cancel them. So that's the thing, and there's like this usunięcie ósemki, which is like my dentist appointment to
Yep.
wisdom tooth removal. So that kind of stuff I put into my calendar. So basically, my calendar is made of everything beside the work stuff. So I can
Yeah.
like.
So when do you do your work then? When do you do your work? Is it like everywhere
No,
in between? Do you have fixed
yeah.
hours when you do the work,
No,
or?
no. It's like it changes because like of my mental condition. So I used to work at night, like late night. So it's like I was going to sleep 3, 4 a.m. because that was the time I've been the most productive. Right now I'm trying to find some like kind of working blocks, but it doesn't work for me. So for example, today it's like we started at around noon. So until then I didn't do anything because I've been waiting for this meeting. So if I have like I have the flag that my current company isn't meeting related, like meeting. Heavy meeting.
Meeting first.
Yeah.
But I would say that it's probably a lot of this that allows you to do it because you found some kind of environment that allows you to
Exactly.
do the work when you are ready for work. And I think that the thing that you've mentioned about meeting being at noon and this kind of slow focus raising towards the meeting, I feel a lot of us has the same because only project managers and people around us thinks like they can have 7 meetings one after another, and the context is immediately switch. You don't need to load yourself and offload yourself from the meeting.
Yeah.
So it seems like you do and you control the work stream, right? So you do the work when you can do the work
Yes.
and when you need to do the work. But as you've mentioned also earlier, you are kind of deadline driven. So I think having those deadlines helps you to do the work. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, so I like trying to set the deadlines by myself because in my company we don't like set deadlines, so don't set expectations. We don't do estimations, stuff like that. So it's pretty special company, but it's perfect for me in terms of working conditions and like the way I can manage my calendar without creating events in it. So I can like it's a clear clear contract, clear B2B contract. I earn as much as I work. So if I work like in this month because of my trip, I've been working for like 15 hours, I will get the 15 hours invoice. Yeah.
That makes sense, but at least from the same perspective and the external point of view, you are not kind of in the position where you need to eliminate a lot from your, let's say, calendar and things to do something else. But you're mostly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but mostly driven like by desire of doing something right now. So for example, if you would like to go right now and fly some drone because there is a good weather condition outside, you don't need to kind of rearrange too many things to do that. But that's something what you can do almost in every case.
Yeah. And it's a big big responsibility also, because you need to like think, okay, you need to earn some money to pay the taxes, stuff like that. So yeah. But on the other hand, it's like it's giving me a lot of freedom. So I can pick like, okay, like in the morning I can like find 4 or 5 hours, let's say, to do some photo shoot or fly drone or have like some creative meeting with artists, stuff like that, and then I can work in the evening. So like this like freedom, which is very attractive, but also sometimes very demanding.
Yeah,
Because
I was going to say
yeah.
that it's kind of a freedom of choosing what you want to do, but also there are various drivers for people to play this way or the other way. So some of them are forced by amount of money that they earn because they need to do that, but some others prioritize their mental health and ability to have this freedom and choices, right, instead of maybe higher pay.
Yeah.
So.
But sometimes, like, to be honest, I sometimes miss the working from like 9 to 5, and I've been working in an agency in the office like 10 years ago or something like that. So because it's like okay, it's like 5 p.m. Goodbye. I'm free. I can do whatever I want.
That's true.
Yeah. It's but it's all only sometimes, not all of the time. But sometimes I miss these times.
Okay, that's interesting, and I think that will be a really cool perspective to compare and put aside with other people who are a little bit different, busy, I would say, from this point of view. You've touched about the topic that is also important these days, and it's like general mental health and also a freedom in mind point of view. And also you said that you've been recently diagnosed with ADHD, which is still maybe thriving, maybe more popular or more present topic these days amongst not only developers but generally amongst everyone. How did you find it, basically, yourself, and how do you find yourself right now with this knowledge, working in the industry and doing other things? Did it help you to get diagnosed, or did it, I don't know, maybe put some more worries in your point of view of things that you do now?
Yeah, that will be a long answer, I think.
we have time. We have time.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm officially diagnosed for 2 years now. And how it started. Let's start with this disclaimer. I'm not a medical professional. I'm just like presenting my own point of view, like my own feelings and things that I went through. So there were signs like for a long time, but I wasn't interested in ADHD stuff because from the outside I look like a very calm person, and there was this myth of like ADHD boys like jumping everywhere, screaming. It's annoying and stuff like that. So I'm quite the opposite, on the other side of this. But there was this first wave, let's say, of ADHD popularity, which came like 3-4 years ago, and there were like lots of TikToks about it. So if you have this, you might have ADHD. And my wife started sending me this stuff and said, "Oh, this is you. Oh, this is you. Oh, this is you. Oh, this is you." It's like every TikTok was about me, basically. So I started reading a lot, and at the time, like 2 years ago, I've been suffering from a heavy depression, which wasn't discovered before, and I was feeling really, really bad. And I decided, okay, so there must be some kind of source of it. Yeah, so I found a specialist, a psychiatrist. I went through some testing, and I've been officially diagnosed. So that was the one part. And then my like I'd say my current life started, but also I gained another perspective about things that happened before. So like I was going back like in my memory when it's like okay, first of all I was like, no, it's like maybe I'm not like even if I had this diagnosis officially on the paper signed by the specialist, I was like, maybe I'm not, maybe it's like
They're wrong.
yeah, maybe it's like I'm overthinking it. So yeah, but then I went back to my childhood and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, this was because of ADHD. This was because of ADHD. This was because of ADHD and stuff like that. So my life was like self-explanatory then. All of the stuff that happened before is like, okay, I should know about this earlier, then maybe I wouldn't like make this decision.
Mm-hmm.
So my life changed in a way. I know myself better.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the big pro of that. And like my wife also understands me better. So she knows that like if I'm not doing something, it's not because I want to like make her angry or something like that, but it's like this is how my brain works. So it's also like helping with our relation. Yeah, so the all the things I'm doing is probably because of that, because I'm looking for like something new or trying to connect things or like coming to new ideas I have. So all of the projects it's not like I'm like thinking heavily about something. Okay, I need to do this stuff because no, it's like sometimes like I'm sitting right now with you talking about something, and my brain has a second thread. It was constantly working. It's like, okay, there's an idea, another idea, another idea. Let's connect this with this, and it's like that. So it comes to me, but it's also very demanding for the organism. So I need to learn how to rest, basically, because without that I could like non-stop doing things that I'm interested in. So there's this hyper focus thing that allows you to do week of work in 8 hours. It's not a myth. I can do this, but it's very, very demanding. So
So some people call it a flow state of mind, right? When in
yeah.
reality, sometimes it's just this might be hyper focus related with this ADHD conditions.
Yeah. So I don't want to give anyone any medical advice, but if you're like thinking about this, you're seeing some signs that you might have this condition, then it's good to go to the specialist and try to diagnose it. And that's like
Especially these days, right? When it's kind of such available and it's hard to say easy, but definitely way easier to just go
There's
to
like
the specialist,
there
get
are
diagnosed.
more and more research about this. So I like to like get the new knowledge. There's like stuff that comes up that the specialists are also like having more training on it, because there's also a group of specialists that says there's no ADHD. So you can even find this kind of person. So or like
There are some psychologists specialized in ADHD only, right? But at least from what I heard, and some of, especially in Warsaw, when I was exposed to the topic recently, they are very demanding and not demanding. There is very hard to get to them, and you need to wait for a long time, which might not be again the best solution. And yeah, I think within even our industry, there is a lot of people who have been diagnosed recently. We've been talking about it
and I
recently as
saw
well.
that there is one guy I'm following is a Polish doctor, and he said that like about 40% of his patients are from the IT industry, another 40 is the music industry artists, and like 20% are the others. So yeah,
With your
because like
multiple hats, you cover a couple of them.
exactly.
Tick the box. But that's interesting, and I think again, it might be seen from, and that might lead to my question, because it might be seen as both superpower as well, because a lot of people say that thanks to ADHD I can do this, I can do that, or I can do a lot of things, but then do not finish some of them. But at least you started a lot of the topics. How do you see it right now when you know that this is do you feel like it helps you, or it maybe makes you feel less focused on things that you would like to focus on?
I don't like this saying that this is a superpower, because it's, from my perspective, it's not. For some people might be, but for me, not. And I don't like to be like labeled like this is the guy with ADHD. So this is because he's doing this. It's the part of my brain. This is how my brain works. It's part of me, but I'm not like, I don't like to be like labeled with that. So for me, it's not a superpower. It's just like the way I'm working. It's like how my brain works, basically. So when I try to understand why, so I'm doing this because like I'm searching for dopamine, basically, which is the most common thing. I understand why now, because I'm diagnosed and I can like look more into myself and try to find the answers. Why? So it's like constant why, or like observing yourself or your actions, and it's like looking from perspective, and you get, okay, I've done this because I have ADHD. I've been looking for this because of this behavior. This is how it works right now. So it's not, as I said, it's not a superpower for me. Just like this is the way my brain works, and I have to accept it because I cannot change it. Like medication I'm taking, it's helping me with doing stuff, but I don't want to be heavy reliable on it. So I'm not taking this on daily basis. Just like in the days I feel that I cannot complete what I'm supposed to do. It's like there was also like another great sentence I read some time ago. It's like taking this medication. It's like wearing reading glasses. So if you have like problem with your eyes and you wear the glasses, you can read stuff, but it doesn't make you want to read. So one thing is like to put the glasses. You can read. Okay, I can see clearly now all of the letters, but it doesn't make you want to read.
Yeah. And
So
reading might be done at some point, and then you do not read and
Yeah.
you do something else, and which is
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
environment.
So the same thing with this medication. It helps you to make more focused work, but it won't make the work for you. You still need to be motivated to do stuff, but it makes like this work easier.
Yeah,
Point,
I was
yes.
going to jump on this topic because motivation is also a topic that is often in the position of being busy, being performant, being with the results in general. But at one point you also mentioned depression. So having motivation and ADHD, which is in theory constant energy, or maybe not energy,
No.
it's like a constant
No.
brain processing stuff, but you feel like it's like the depression was a side effect of you lacking this dopamine, or you kind of doing too much? Was it ever related with something what right now we see a lot in the industry, which is also a burnout of too many topics being done or not done at the same time? How did it combine those two? And right now, if you are reflecting on the past, how you would combine it together, and what was the maybe relation to depression, or was it depression relation to ADHD somehow?
It's pretty much connected. So pretty every person who like okay, it's like maybe some research will say that no.
Generalization. Yeah, we need
Yeah,
more
and
data.
yeah, we need more data. But there is a lot of cases where ADHD is connected with depression. So there is a higher risk of having depression when you have ADHD. Let's say that way. Yeah, so for me it was like a very dark time. So, and you said that it's like ADHD is the constant energy. It's not, and it's often like the opposite. You're very, very devastated. Your brain is devastated,
Distracted maybe also as well.
and yeah, and you're exhausted basically because you cannot. There's this thing that you cannot do things. I cannot recall the English name of this. But like for example, it's from my my own history. It's like, okay, I'm waking up in the morning. It's hard to get out of the bed, but finally I'm getting out. and I'm hungry. I'm feeling very, very hungry. I want to eat something. I'm going downstairs to open the refrigerator. I can see eggs. I can make some scrambled eggs, which I like. And it's like I'm opening, looking at eggs, and I cannot do anything. I'm paralyzed, basically. I'm closing the fridge and going like without eating, still being hungry and trying to do other stuff. So there's this kind of paralysis also with the ADHD, yeah, in my uh, in my case, but it's also pretty popular. So yeah, this is like another myth that you are like hyperactive, and this hyperactivity is like it's like a cycle, I would say. So it's like you get a
I
very
mentioned that.
very high and very low, and there's like
Yeah.
you cannot stay in the middle for a long time. You're just like jumping, and sometimes the lows are really 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 low. So my depression was combination of lots of things back then. But it pushed me to like my state back then, and I said I need to like to see the specialist because life didn't have sense back then. It was like I was struggling to wake up, to get out of bed. Yeah, so it was a very very dark time back then.
So you said that it was a mix of combinations. It wasn't just work related, I would say. It's not
No. At the time, I've been very happy with my work because I changed the company year before, and yeah, I've been doing a lot of cool stuff back then. I've been DJing then. I was like playing a lot of gigs, so there was like this masking thing also. There was, like from one hand, I've been doing a lot of stuff, but on the other hand, I've been super exhausted.
Yeah, but I think we talked about it when we were going to the Beyond Code conference recently. The topic also got it's hard to say more popular, but more open to be discussed as well. It's a lot of people just questions themselves and being more self-aware that something is maybe not all right. And again, we had a lot of past experiences where people said, no, it's not that. And even as you mentioned, after being diagnosed, you can also question some perception, because we don't often trust ourselves in various objections and point of views. But it's good that we talked about it, because we obviously talked about it not that far away in time. And I think it's for all of us and for all the people who suffer various conditions. It's just we can check it these days, and there are some resolutions, and especially in the area of those busy programmers that I put in the question marks, because I do feel like we often push ourselves in the position of being busy, because we cannot operate the different ways. Sometimes it might be masked, sometimes it might be the consequence of our health or mental conditions, but sometimes it's just the choice. And we need to detach from observing specific people who might be one or another, and looking at them as role models, because it might be something else than we see in various positions, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know where to jump next, because there's a lot of areas that we need to explore. Yeah, heavy topics.
Yeah, but they're very important. Like I'm always open to talk about it. So like when I let's say came out with with my diagnosis publicly at some point, there were like lots of people who are trying to reach me and talk about how did I get diagnosed and stuff like that. So. But I'm not a doctor, I'm not a mental health specialist, so I don't want to give any advices beside the one that if you feel like there might be a chance, that let's verify it with some there's this DIVA test which you are doing with your psychiatrist, and you can verify things. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think as well important is to mention that we need to change sometimes our opinions and some perceptions that some people can feel like I will never be hit by this kind of conditions. I will never. I'm the happy guy. I'm always motivated. I don't need to seek for motivation. But then one day you wake up and it might be different. So it's not like it will ever always be the same, right? Cool. I think I can jump to the selection of the interests and topics that you work on, because let's say you feel like you lack motivation to do something. Do you then choose to do something else instead, or do you right now combine things to I will do something music related, but I will code it, as you did for some of the examples that you've shared recently, or do you sometimes force yourself to do things just to get it done? How do you do that?
Sometimes I have to force myself, especially like if it's like paid job related, because I have to pay the bills, stuff like that. So yeah, sometimes I have to force myself, but it's not very often. Right now I can be pretty picky about projects I'm working on, so I won't do stuff I don't like. So I have this comfort that I can choose right now. So yeah, but sometimes it's like, okay, it's the end of the month, you work this amount of hours, you should work pretty much more, so you have to like focus on work right now, not to do some crazy stuff with consoles, or like yesterday I've been like dismantling all old MacBook to replace the battery, which I could like give to the service and they will do this for like 200 zloty. Instead I spent like 4 hours on removing one screw, which was like without the head, and I had to like use the drill. But I like this stuff, so
Yeah. Yeah,
sometimes
nice.
like I'm doing everything beside the thing I should do, and it's pretty common. But after that, like I've learned that it's like my responsibility also. Like I'm old enough to take responsibility, not to run from it, and get the job done. So sometimes it's like, okay, I'm doing other stuff. Sometimes it's just I'm doing just the work stuff, and then I rest. So I would like to rest more, actually. so I don't have to.
So that's the plan. The plan is to rest more. But
Yeah.
so what can make you lean towards this direction? I'm slowly jumping into the topics of education, online courses, and some maybe other business legs that we can explore also together after addressing all of the other topics. But do you have any plan or any vision on how you see yourself? It's a very common question. How do you see yourself in 5 years from now, right? Do you have this kind of vision?
Yes and no. It depends.
It depends. Yes.
I'm an expert consultant right now. Yeah. So the vision about myself, it's like I don't have a strong vision right now, but I'm getting bored pretty quickly. So if it's like I cannot do one thing for a long time because I'm getting bored, I need to explore new stuff. That's why I picked front-end development, which changes every week. Basically, there is new stuff coming up. There's lots of stuff you can do. So I can use it also for like my art projects. So it's perfect for me. So back to this like seasons thing. It works for me like that. So like right now I'm in the middle, let's say, of the season where I need to work more. So I will be focusing more on the programming right now. I'm going to learn some new things because I want to. Some AI stuff. I joined this AI devs course recently. I need to start it because I've been on my vacation, so I didn't have a chance to start it yet, but I'm going to do this like probably in December. Yeah, so I'm trying to focus on like programming stuff. But on the other hand, there are also like things that are coming to me. So as I said before, it's like I get sometimes like idea, okay, let's connect this with this and build something because I want to. And then like 100% of my brain is like, okay, think about this. And the other what's left, which is nothing, it says you don't have space to do this. Stop, write it down, and go back to work. Yeah. So sometimes it's like that. So when I'm getting hyper fixated on over something, it's you cannot stop me. So.
But there's no specific plan. At least that's what we can.
No. But like in 5 years, I had this I visited the Team Lab Borderless in Tokyo 2 weeks ago, which is an interactive exhibition. When you are the controller and there are like many rooms, everything is connected with some visualizations with music. And I sat in one room, like staring at the wall for 5 minutes and thinking about myself as an artist. And I was like, okay, so you're building some websites, some commercial shit, but you're an artist, you need to create more. Like there was like there's some kind of enlightenment moment for me. So if I could pick like what I would like to do in 5 years, it would be this kind of art. I would like to be like full-time artist who creates this kind of digital analog experiences.
Still mixing digital though, because
Yeah,
what I was kind of leading to it was like, you've been doing some courses, some pretty popular ones as well, which was WTF, Totten Frontend for to speak a little bit Polish here, which
or
helped
in English, what the front end.
what the front end, yeah, that
Yeah.
I can translate well. So it helped over 1,900 students. Is that
Something
correct
like
number?
this.
Still
Yeah.
valid?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, front end, as you've mentioned, you always considered as an art too, and that was even the title of your presentation.
Yeah.
And you also did a lot of music related things with code, so it's always in the middle of digitalization plus art plus right, music is still an art and some form of impact driven legacy. Is this kind of realization now that you want to create more than to share more, and to be more, to have more impact on someone who consumes that? We still have an impact by building websites, but I believe
Yeah. It's like in this presentation, front-end is an art. I think last slide was about like think about the audience of the biggest rock concert ever. It's like 500,000 people, something like that. And how many people visit your website? Sometimes the numbers are like much bigger than that. So you're a fucking rock star, basically.
Yeah, in short. You've also started an Instagram profiles. You have many Instagram profiles. That's correct, right? But you've started the one that is related with CSS because you, as you mentioned to me, correct me if I'm wrong, that you wanted to also detach from Maciek's content and photography into more tech CSS related ones.
Yeah, so there's this ADHD CSS, which has one video I posted like 2 months ago, and there was like nothing. So that's how I'm good in creating content regularly. But there is some kind of fun. I don't know if it's like if Instagram or YouTube is my medium, because I don't like to talk to the camera a lot, which I'm doing a lot, but it's not my thing.
We can probably right now pause for a second and reflect back on the past, because the medium discussions and YouTube and stuff is also something what I do explore at the moment. And again, I don't know yet anything besides that some joy is going through being interviewing people and listening to the stories, and also being able to talk about things that always bothered me. And you've been the one who was doing vlogs and videos again before it was cool, and I hope that I will manage to edit it that way that at the beginning of this conversation we will see ourselves from I can't remember which was the year, 2016
or 15, 2015. Yeah.
And you've been doing vlogging, a vlog for our company visit in London then. You were recording clips with your iPhone, doing editing on your iPhone in the middle of the night when we were all coming back from the parties and after and some very challenging days in London, and then uploading it on YouTube to then be seen by some people who were kind of interested in what we do, maybe there or not. So you've been trying a lot of things, right? Same with photography, same with Instagram. So it's probably there will be new medium. There's always a new medium. There's always something new. Right now, like a blue sky or whatever else will be there. So I do believe that you will be still trying and looking. But the beginning of this question is like, what would need to happen to give you the joy of doing less? So how you would like to fulfill your time when you would be resting? So what makes you right now feel rested? That's the question, maybe.
Sleeping, as always.
Sleeping. Okay.
Lot of sleep. Yeah, I'm going to replace. There's a piano behind me, which I'm not using. I got it like 3 years ago, and I'm going to sell it. And there will be another shelf with 2 record players and a mixer and speakers. And so I'm going to DJ at this in this room with vinyls. So it will be like pure analog experience without screens. And that's what makes me relax. So I will get deep dive into the music probably. So
Nice.
this whole stuff with like videos and photos is like I still need to sit in front of my computer to do this. I need to edit. Of course, I can hire someone now. It's getting more popular to get someone to edit for you. But yeah, it's like this is the struggle for me. So I can like easily create some content or get into ideas of what content I would like to publish, but then it's like the struggle of recording stuff or setting things up, or then you need to edit it, export, publish.
So how then did you find yourself in being an educator and a course provider? Because obviously
Yeah.
the WTF forced you a little bit to do that, right? But did you? And you've been doing the same, not the same type of lectures on the real university with people, right?
Yeah.
Do you still feel like a hunger to teach people, to share what you have learned? We've been talking about the presentations and also at the conference that we visited. We've been even talking about doing some workshops about creating nice pictures or doing some nice pictures.
Yeah.
So do you still feel the drive to teach? And do you
Yeah,
see yourself
I think I always has been a teacher in some way, like in the scout team, or like I always like to share the knowledge I got, not because I'm like an expert and I want to like show off, but I like to do this, and I'm probably good at this. Like I have some evidence from the past. Yeah. So yeah, but like having this transformation from real people in the room I had like at the uni, and then I need to create an online course. It was like, okay, there will be no response from them. I need to sit down, record like the screen, talk about something, and then I will publish this, and then we'll see it like in a week later. And then I will get the feedback, and I need to record another week. So it was at first it was hard, but yeah, it was cool, but on one hand it was cool and very rewarding when we like I met these people who watched the videos on one of the hackathons. It was super rewarding. They like created 3 or 4 teams, created their own solutions with like the knowledge I presented to them. It was super rewarding and cool. But on the other hand, it was like probably the most exhausting time of my life because of this deadline-driven development or deadline-driven course production in that case. So I've been creating slides, then I've been recording this, then I've been editing this, and then I've been publishing this, like a one-man army. And so like the single module was about I don't know, like 2 to 3 hours, and I've been doing this on the weekend, like a single module. So it was like Sunday evening, and I've been like finishing the exporting the files. I've been like that for next 5 days, and then weekend comes up. Okay, another module to publish because there is a deadline. So it was like super hardcore for me and for my wife. And I've done this 3 times because there were like 3 editions.
And you were recording the new edition every time.
Because like the changes of the current front-end stack and like things I wanted to improve. So there was like a low chance of like editing the old lesson, not to destroy other like connections because everything was connected there. So it was super hard. Yeah, and I've done this 3 times, and I probably won't do this anymore because it was
that was one of my next questions.
Because like this kind of like big course which lasted for 13 weeks. So it was like 120 videos, something like that, to create. It lasted for 24 hours, like the ready material, but the source material was like 100 hours of recordings I had. So there was like lots of discs on my desk.
Yeah.
Floating with
But then
recordings.
let me ask you one more question about it. Did you ever have issues with the perfectionism approach? Because again, from the point of artist as well, you've been always, for me as well, as a feedback, you were giving a nice feedback regarding the quality of audio, video, and you have an eye. You've also been described as someone who is a pixel perfect guy. So did you suffer from being this perfectionist yourself, or were there a moment when you stopped and you said that good enough is good enough?
Like, ask me if I'm proud of anything I've done. It's like
Are
the
you
answer is
proud of anything that you've done?
no, I'm not. Lots of some things, of course, like from the perspective I started to be proud of all the things I've done, like the thing I discovered I did 13 years ago, yesterday. But yeah, it's like it's super hard for me. So I cannot like release anything that is not perfect. I'm like super critic about my work. Not about others. Like the others, sometimes I just giving advices like you can improve this and this, but it's like it's still okay what you've done. It's perfectly fine. But if you want to jump to next level, maybe it's not like a good way to give an advice. But sometimes I'm doing this stuff. But like when it comes to my stuff, it's like it's hard. So maybe that's why I'm not like doing much more or like presenting much more, because I've been thinking like for I don't know since ever I don't have a portfolio of my like this crazy projects which I've done a lot, and they are pretty well documented with pictures and videos, but they are not like published in one place. So right now I'm thinking about creating some kind of portfolio, simple portfolio with all the crazy stuff I've done, which maybe will like drive me to my dream of being this like artist who creates crazy stuff somewhere else, like around the world. So
I do have a feeling.
Yeah.
I do have a feeling at some point that the only thing that makes it possible to be released is this deadline, because that's often how I feel as well. It's like, okay, if I have a deadline, then it needs to be done, and the done is then done, even though I'm not happy as well from the result of it. Right? But again, it went off. It needed to be published, sent, or done. Cool. I'm not happy. I'm not proud, but it's done. And it seems from some of the other perspectives that this is amazing. Some people say that a lot of our work is amazing, and I do always admire your work as well all the time, that even though maybe you were not satisfied with it, but it was always high quality, because as you mentioned right now, you were always pushing yourself harder and harder to deliver as best quality as you would expect from yourself, even though it was still maybe not matching the 100% of expectations that you put on yourself.
That's why, like, when I went to Japan, I bought like a microphone for just Instagram stories. It's kind of like best quality audio. So first thing I landed, I was like searching for this microphone to get it, because I decided to, like, it was like a spontaneous decision to make this like Instagram stories stuff, because I went for a solo trip and I didn't want to feel that alone. So I decided, okay, I will like publish just for close friends the stuff, and I bought the microphone. It was like I recorded something about 600 stories, and most of them were for 1 minute, so you can like do the math.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of content.
But that was super fun, because I didn't have to edit it. It was like, okay, one thing I didn't do is like I've been recording with the external camera app, not with the Instagram, because it's like a shitty quality. So I had like the best quality also, which took a lot of transfer to upload. But yeah, it was worth it. And there was like no editing, so I was just like, okay, record. Some of the stories I had to record for 5 times, because I wasn't happy with the. So there was a bit of perfectionism there, but yeah, it was like pretty spontaneous, and I like this kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I'm also a huge fan of raw, as much raw recording as possible. But at the same time, we see a lot of the content that is edited, and
Mhm.
same with the pictures. We had this discussion about the pictures.
Yeah.
It's not you often have a need to take 100 pictures to capture this one that will then, after editing and framing and filtering, will look as great. But yeah, that's the long-term process that results with short-term happiness. Yeah, I think that we touched about the next topics and ideas on how you would like to arrange your time and future, and what is it kind of your ambition to do. With, of course, art in the middle and or in the center of your focus, and yeah, maybe reflecting back on the whole journey. Let's say on from the beginnings of this IT, the career in IT,
I'm
and all
not
the
dying
art.
yet.
Yes, you're not definitely, and hopefully you're not going to do that soon. But then, looking back at your career, did you feel like there were some kind of pivotal moments or specific moments when you realized that maybe something is changing, or you changed? Was this maybe maybe this ADHD diagnosis, maybe something else, maybe suffering this depression, maybe something else, right?
It's like I witnessed like a lot of this kind of moments, like in terms of technology. Like there was this mobile revolution.
Yeah.
I was like one of the first persons in the company who like started to focus on doing mobile stuff, not only like the websites for the desktop browsers, but also for the phones. And I quickly specialized in that. So that was like one of the moments when I think there was like maybe it wasn't like a decision I made for myself. It was like maybe I wasn't fully aware of that this is a decision I've made. Well, let's say it's that way. But like when this mobile revolution started, I think I just wanted to do more front end stuff. And like I was like, okay, there's like a whole new area that was created. And I ditched the databases, PHP server stuff, which I'm back right now too, because I'm working in the in Arkansas, which is Ruby on Rails agency. So I'm doing like the server side rendering right now with Rails.
The circle
And I
got
love it.
closed.
Yeah. So yeah,
mobile
but
revolution.
there was like
Mobile
there was this like this like moment when I decided, okay, I'm going to do front end, because there was like before that, like everyone was a web developer. It was like there was no like full stack, or like if you were doing websites, you had to like do the front end, the HTML, CSS stuff, some JavaScript, sometimes with jQuery. And also they required you to build some like admin panel in PHP with MySQL and stuff like that. So there was like you were doing the whole thing for like a very little amount of money.
Yeah.
Because like when I like look back right now, it's like for a month of work I could earn like 800 zloty back then for a month, building like a complex system for a luxury boat seller. Yeah, so which was like it's yeah. So
Yeah, but
that was
that was definitely a revolution. So how do you see AI now? As do you see it as another turning point? You've mentioned that you are right now going to participate in this AI devs course and do some more exposure to AI. How do you see it? Is it already helping you do more, maybe explore more, or if your creativity regions? Or do you challenge yourself with speaking with chatbots already?
I'm using it a lot. Sometimes it's just like a helper, like on the let's say that on my like daily basis, when I'm like coding, I'm using Copilot. Sometimes it gives good advices, sometimes not. So yeah, I'm like, let's say I'm maybe not a heavy user, but a regular user. So from that point of view, it's like helping me a lot. Sometimes I'm building stuff with languages I don't know, like Python stuff, or some like sometimes I'm asking like write me this bash script to rename all files so I can like upload them. Helps me a lot, so I can do more stuff. Obviously. Yeah. And on the like other regions, I've been using Midjourney a lot. I've been doing a big project with Midjourney for my daily photo project, but I ditched it like in the middle probably because I didn't like the results. I've been uploading all of my pictures I've done for my daily project there, and there was like this reimagined version of them.
Mhm.
So there was like a flow that we pick a picture, then it's Midjourney is using describe to describe it. We are using this as a prompt for Midjourney to like recreate my work
Okay.
based on this picture. So the results were like some of them were pretty cool, some of them not, and it cost me a lot of money to run it. So I decided to not to finish this project.
Mhm.
But it's still, I think it's still on Instagram somewhere, like a few hundred of pictures published there. Yeah.
Yeah, but then do you think that it will, or maybe it already revolutionize the way how we work and how we do the stuff, especially in our creative industries, let's say, or do you not feel like it happened already?
I think we're in the middle of the change, but it's still like too soon to say what will be the end impact of it, because there will be probably some regulations soon, maybe some like
Yeah.
maybe there's already this wave of removing code created by AI because like there was some like
Cleaning after AI.
yeah, there will be probably a lot of work for us to do to clean up. There was like one situation at my friend's work that when she got back from her vacation, she looked at the code and there was like new developer in the team who joined like when she was absent, and there was a line in the code like there was this ampersand and BSP. And then it was like comment, this will stick two words together. It was like obviously generated by AI. It's like lots
Yeah.
of code like generated by AI, which didn't make any sense in that case. And he left this in the code published. So yeah, and he lost his job like probably 2 weeks later because like everything he was doing, he was like using chatbots to generate the code. So there is yeah. And there was a big discussion about who is responsible for this code and the results of it. So yeah, I'm seeing this as like for myself, it's kind of opportunity to do more in a shorter period of time, or to experiment more maybe, because I wouldn't like use this to make a production ready solution. But sometimes I'm just trying to confront my ideas and to get some like feedback from someone else. And this course I'm going to attend is focused on agents. So I like having big hopes about creating some kind of my personal agents to manage my chaos and write down all the ideas and some kind of manage them. I've done this once already when I've been starting in the AeroPress competition, the coffee competition. You had to create a recipe for the competition. And I've been using ChatGPT with the dictation to describe the steps I'm doing. So let's say it's this recipe one. I'm doing like this amount of coffee, this amount of water, this temperature, this time of planning, stuff like that. Let's name this recipe number one. Okay, now I'm doing the tasting. Okay, this is like a bit bitter, stuff like that. Okay, and of the recipe one. Then I've created about 12 recipes for the competition.
Yeah.
And then I was able to quickly recreate them, because like if I wouldn't like describe them to the chat, they will be probably lost. I'm trying to write them down, so there was like things are happening pretty quickly because you have 5 minutes to do the coffee. Yeah, so I wanted like to do this somehow live, to not to lose the impression of like going back to the previous recipe. So I had like this kind of assistant already, and it was like super helpful for me. So I'm looking forward for more of this kind of stuff for managing the everyday life, not to do maybe this programming stuff. It's already pretty okay. It will probably evolve, but we'll see like what life will bring.
The hopes are high, so we will
Yeah,
definitely will see
yeah.
that.
But I don't think I will lose my job like
Mm-hmm.
in upcoming years. Hopefully. If I do, I will just become like a
Yeah,
homeless artist,
you
basically.
have some alternatives definitely to
Yeah.
drive your career. Uh, but yeah, okay, let's then wrap up with the final question to someone or yourself, maybe at the start of the career, because I do still feel like a lot of people still sees IT as
Mhm.
the way to explore, go. You've been helping a lot of the people to start their journey into IT. So if you were starting now, or if you would be asked to advise someone on the beginning of their journey, with the passions that people might have when they're entering the industry, do you have any advice or best ways to combine this interest and join the coding part, or do you have some, you know, just straight advice that, do this and that, the common answer to everyone asking, where to start with this IT, because you guys are
Mhm.
doing so many interesting stuff.
Yeah. So like the biggest advice I can give, I think, is like don't be afraid to fail because you will fail at some point. Like at learning, there will be a lot of fails which won't be your fault because from what I saw from the hundreds of students I had, is like people are afraid to experiment and
Mhm.
are afraid of the outcome of this experiment. They will think, okay, I'm really bad at this because it doesn't work. You're not. You're still learning, so don't be afraid to fail, because the fail is the part of the process. So I think this is the biggest advice. And don't be afraid to ask questions. There are no dumb questions. The worst outcome might be like someone won't answer you, but the best outcome will be someone will help you to understand the problem. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and how to start coding?
Start coding.
uh, yeah, just start. From my perspective, it was like I've been trying to build something. I wanted to build a website about things I'm interested in. So,
Hmm.
from my perspective, this approach, like, find something that will help you in your everyday life, which doesn't exist or it exists, but you want to create your own solution. You will learn a lot to be in when you're building real stuff.
So it's
And
not
don't
like
be
when
alone.
learning to, yeah.
Yeah, so don't be alone and join some kind of community. There are like lots of online and offline communities. So yeah, and there
These
there will be like
these are awesome
yeah,
advices, and I think that the most important that you've said that is like, do not think like uh, learning by just reading thousands of books can make us a programmer. It's more about really
yeah,
having a
yeah,
real case scenario, which might be then resolved by some of help. And right now, it's again, I think it's easier than ever, because even with this drive and steering and some pointers from chats, GPTs,
yeah.
or other models, we can really do what we want to do. But finding what we want to do is the
And it's
essential.
also like risky to use chat at the beginning, I would say, because you are
Hmm.
not learning. You will just copy things and not fully understand them. So my advice is like not to follow the like standard. Like from my area, it's like the first app you will build with React is probably some kind of like to-do app or something like that. Don't do this. Build something completely different. You will like have different kind of problems, and you will have to think about them. Not to copy. Okay, this is the list. I need to place an input here. Okay, copy paste works. Fine.
Yeah, done.
No, just do something completely different, and you will learn a lot more. It will be like a more exciting journey than building another to-do app, which is like a pretty common case.
Hmm.
So yeah.
And so last question from me to you, Maciek. How do you learn? How do you learn these days? And how do you find time to learn new things?
I learn in action mostly right now. So as I said,
On
I
demand
joined.
education. On demand
Yeah,
education.
yeah, exactly. There are like lots of things I would like to learn, but I don't have time for that, and probably I won't use them too much. So that's why I'm relying on some chatbots in this area, or just like I know that like my experience is pretty high, so I know how stuff works. So it won't like cheat on me that
Hmm.
okay, this will copy that and it will work. I can clearly see that it won't. So. Yeah, so back to the question. As I said, I joined Arkansas, which is Ruby on Rails agency, and I had no experience in that besides like some small projects in 2009. I remember I found like a Facebook post that I'm looking for Ruby on Rails projects back in then. But there was no demand for that on the market, so I jumped on the PHP train then. Yeah, but right now I'm just like learning while I'm building things for the company, and it's I have this luck that I'm pretty quick learner, so I'm catching things. If it's interesting, I'm catching things fast, and I have like this big background of doing things in other languages, so it's not like pretty new to me. But there are some like new concepts I need to get into. I got some online course on Ruby on Rails, but which I didn't finish yet. But I started when I got like the initial view on that, and I got the basics. I was like, okay, I'll go for him, and I'm learning from my colleagues from work basically.
Yep.
So if I have a problem, I have this like huge comfort that they are for me, and so I can go on Slack and ask, okay, we've got a special channel called Kindergarten, when you can ask questions.
It's harking back to your advice, which is there is no stupid questions. At least
Yeah. So
in the worst
I'm
case
just
scenario on that
not
one.
afraid. Sometimes they say like, really. Sometimes they will like answer. Well, most of the times they are answering the questions. So I'm not wasting their time too much. Yeah.
That's great.
So
So you're practicing.
yeah. I think I never learned anything besides the uni where the classes we had. They were like purely theoretical. So right now I'm focusing on practical stuff. So I want to build something. I need to learn this technology. Okay, let's do this.
Nice.
So just like trying to create some kind of project that excites me and then build it. Even with like technologies I don't know, and it was like always like that. Even the project I mentioned before, like from 13 years ago, I didn't do anything more in Flash besides this one. So yeah.
Nice. Now, two final segments before we'll finally wrap up, because we talked about most of the topics and probably all of the topics that I wanted to touch up on with you, and having your knowledge next to myself. One segment right now for us would be the question from the fellow busy programmer. That's something what I wanted to leave you with. And I have a question from someone who I recorded an episode previously, and they didn't know to who this question would be directed to, so it might be a little bit interesting. So the question left for you is: what initiatives could you do to improve your company's sustainability and environmental impact?
Okay, so I do not own this company. I'm just like a contractor who works there. I have my own single person company, and like to like sum up these things out. So we are working remotely, all of us. We are not having an office, which I think is, we don't waste time on traveling. We don't create CO2 with our cars. We are just like walking to work. So I think we are pretty environmental friendly because we are like ditching lots of stuff, which is like company building, heating up. It's so yeah. But maybe to answer it from different angle. Some time ago, I started interesting in CO2 related stuff with the websites, how the servers are producing their CO2 and like the stuff with electricity. So maybe to answer it from the different angle, I'm trying to build the solutions that are using less and less power to be generated. So we are using cache in our apps, so server-side rendering, which are like easy cacheable. So you don't have to generate everything every time in the user's browsers. So we don't load tons of JavaScript, which also generates traffic, which also generates CO2. So I'm trying to focus also on that. So like giving the best performant websites and applications is also, I think, a huge part of this sustainability training.
And is that an area that you are seeing an interest in more from the work that you do? Are there clients or projects that you are currently working on that puts sustainability as any kind of metric or goal already?
Most of the time it's like for me, like this one thing is the sustainability. Other thing is the accessibility, which I'm also like specialized in. So those are like the 2 points. But the current clients are not. I had like in the past year I had one question about this because there was a new manager came and said, okay, our website is not environmental friendly. And I was like doing some advisory then for the other company. I didn't do any like changes to the site. I just wrote down a list of points that they can do to improve it.
I asked because I see it more and more often, and I funnily enough I did the presentation about it recently because we've been having one client that has a huge focus on lowering the amount of CO2 data processing.
On the other hand, we are using chatbots, which are
generating
super demanding on the electricity, and so.
It might become an interesting area to specialize in because I think right now a lot of European Unions and not only European Unions countries have some kind of goals of reducing or at least offloading the carbon footprint. So
because we were used to like build apps. Okay, let's install
more servers, more powers. Memory is cheap.
Yeah, exactly. More JavaScript on the website just to like open the menu. Let's load 10 megabytes of JavaScript because we can.
Exactly. But thanks Maciek for that. I will definitely ask you as well to leave a question to someone who will be joining the series next. And to finalize the episode, I have a couple of quick questions to you. Usually 5 to 6 questions that have only answers yes or no, or option A or option B without explanation. So just to say, it is tempting to explain why, but we do not do that. So the quick shots for you from me then are this. To-do list.
Disclaimer. Quick disclaimer.
Like,
my answers won't be 100% yes or no. They will be like mostly yes or mostly no. Thank you. Let's go.
Okay, that's a good disclaimer. So first one. To-do list or YOLO?
YOLO.
GUI all the way or keyboard shortcuts?
Keyboard shortcuts.
Code in peace or code with music?
That will be a surprising answer, but code with peace.
Nice. Late nights or early mornings?
Late nights.
And preventing issues or resolving problems?
I'm a problem resolver, so resolving problems.
Nice. So these were the quick shots. I won't ask you about working from home.
But there were no yes or no questions.
Yes, that's true. That's true. I selected some of those who had only options. That's true. So Maciek, thank you very much for your time, your insights, and your stories. It was really great to refresh the conversations that we had in real life and not that far away in time. I was going to ask you where we will see you next in any gallery or any art projects, but I think it's just a matter of time now that you will find and drive towards this.
I'm building one in real life, which will be open 24 hours, 7 days.
Ooh, that's nice.
So
But again,
maybe I've been doing this for like 2 years right now. Like building took like 2 weeks, and then like all of the time is waiting. So it waits for a better time. But I hope to get back to it. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, and again, fingers crossed for reaching the goal that will give you the enough even more freedom that you have to do more art and more creation that you always wanted to do, and at the same time to fulfill your goals, ambitions, and satisfactions levels as close to the goals that you will set for yourself. And last but not least, let all of us and all of the people who will be watching or listening to us information where they can find you. What was the best place to find Maciek Korsan in the internet these days?
I guess
Not an easy
Instagram.
question. Instagram.
Yeah, my main account, Instagram.
Okay.
It's like this is the account I'm most active on. There are like no other places that I post stuff right now. So company blog sometimes, but it's just like technical knowledge. For more Maciek course and stuff, visit my Instagram.
I will
It's
definitely
a
make sure that
mix of everything. So yeah, it's always a problem for me. So
I will make sure
what
that I
should
will link
post on
up
this
to
account?
all the accounts. I will link up all the
Yeah.
accounts and all the additional materials and all the other things that we talked to, plus some
Okay.
special links to our past recordings, the one that we
Yeah.
found yesterday, and also the ones that we had recorded in the past, just for everyone
Okay.
again to look at the history and also see
Yeah.
where you've mentioned how you were doing the things and what were the motivations to do things generally in the past and right now, and how it didn't change that much, but at the same time it's always great to look at the past achievements, even though then they didn't see they haven't been seen as an achievements or anything that was different. And it's great to have this history built together, and again, kudos for everything what you do and share with us, and keep it up, and thank you once again for dedicating this time to join me today on the series and motivating me to do this series in the first place. That's
Okay. So
that's a huge...
when it will be published?
2 weeks from now, that's the most. I have a huge queue of recordings right now to be edited, and as I'm doing it alone without robots yet doing it, it is the deadline. But I will send you a date. I will send you a date, and you will authorize it before it will went out.
Cool.
Be sure that right now I'm purely deadline driven and doing it on schedule. But yeah, thanks Maciek very much for that, and
Thanks
have
for having
a
me.
lovely rest of the day.
Thanks. See you.